In this part 3 of Confessions of a Collection Agency Lawyer, former collection agency lawyer Mark Silverthorn shares stories of collectors behaving badly.
We should have a sandwich for you in a few minutes.
That would be great if I could get a sandwich and a coffee.
How do you take your coffee?
2 milk and no sugar. Thanks.
Now we want to focus on collectors. Why are you a credible source of information about the conduct of collectors employed by collection agencies?
Between 1994 and 2006, I worked as a collection agency lawyer at various times for 4 of the largest collection agencies operating in Canada. My office would be located on the premises of the collection agency. I would just have to open my door, and outside my door there might be as many as 200 or 300 collectors. I would have regular contact with collection agency management, ownership, senior executives, and collection staff. And on my coffee breaks and at lunch, I would socialize with these individuals. So I would either have observed a lot of behavior, or these individuals would have shared stories with me.
What are some of the worst examples of conduct by a collector?
Well, some individuals try and avoid speaking with a collector. And so I can recall one collector getting really frustrated. And so what they did is they impersonated an OPP officer, and they called up the debtor's workplace, and they informed the person who took the call that the debtor's spouse had been involved in a serious car accident. And that was how they got the debtor on the phone. I can also recall some collectors making threats. Some collectors would threaten people with unpaid accounts that they would contact Children's Aid and have their children taken away. There were some debtors who were new Canadians, and some collectors would call them and threaten that if they did not pay their unpaid account, that they would be deported.
Do you have knowledge of collectors violating privacy laws?
Yeah, I think back in the 90s, it was fairly common for some experienced collectors and skip tracers to have a contact who would work at Bell Canada or a utility, and these would be a sort, if the collector was trying to locate someone, get a current address or current phone number, they would they would reach out to their contact at Bell Canada or a utility in order to find current contact information. Now, today things are a lot stricter about privacy, and if an employee of a utility or phone company were caught giving out someone's contact information, I assume that they would be fired.
Are you aware of any instances of collectors involved in identity theft?
Yeah, I can recall one particular collection agency where they had to fire some people, and you have to, a collector will typically have about 300 accounts that they have access to. And when they have access to a particular account, they have access to a substantial amount of personal information about the debtor. And this would include the debtor's credit report. And so it's my understanding that what happened is that this one collector was gathering the information about the collectors that they had access to, gathering these individuals' personal information. and then selling it to people who were engaged in identity theft. And I can recall that this particular collection agency, after this incident, they removed all of the, at that time they were using floppy drives. And so all the computers in the office, they had the floppy drives removed, and they wanted to make it impossible so that people could copy information onto any type of drive and remove it from the office.
Are you aware of any fraud by some collectors?
Yeah, what some collectors might do is they'd be speaking with a consumer who had an unpaid account, and they would say, listen, we can give you some kind of a discount on your payment if you pay cash, and this is what I'll do is I'll have ABC Courier come and pick up the money. Well, there was no ABC Courier company. The person who would come to pick up the cash would be the collector's friend. So this way, the collector and the courier would get the cash, and the collector might do this for 2 or 3 months and then move on to another collection agency before they get found out, because eventually they get found out, because at some point in the future somebody else would be calling the consumer asking for the money, and the consumer would be saying, hey, I've already paid this. So the collector would eventually be found out, but as long as he moved from one collection agency to another every 3 months, he may get away with this for a while.
Are you aware of any instances where a collector humiliated a consumer?
Yeah, I can recall this one story that was told to me, that one collector called up a wife where I'm not sure if it was a joint account or the husband owed the money, but the collector informed the wife that what she should do is take all the electronics products in the home and put them out on the boulevard, so that at 5 p.m. the sheriff could come by and collect all these items. Now you have to appreciate that in this particular case, that neither the creditor nor the collection agency had sued the consumer, so that they had no right to seize any of the property of the consumer. And so at 5 o'clock or shortly thereafter, the husband comes home and he sees all the electronic products out on the boulevard. So this would have been very humiliating for the family.
Have you done anything as penance for your 12 years working as a collection agency lawyer?
I have a firm. It's called Debt Coach Silverthorn, and the website for Debt Coach Silverthorn is debtcoachsilverthorn.ca. On this website, we've got all kinds of articles and YouTube videos that are helpful for people who are struggling with debt. I also provide one-on-one coaching, 30-minute telephone calls, 30-minute telephone consultations, and one of the things that I do is provide people with coaching for people who are interested in settling a debt with a creditor. And so in this circumstance, the consumer would be offering to make a payment to the creditor or its authorized collection agent, and this one-time lump sum payment would be for significantly less than what the consumer owed as settlement in full. And in many instances, it's possible to negotiate settlements for little as 15 or 25 cents on the dollar. The mantra of Debt Coach Silverthorn is empowering Canadians struggling with debt.